She's a human and I'm a human, and her humanness is no different than mine. This is the after show for Revenge Body.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz
begin. What's going on, everybody? You are watching and listening to the Revenge Body After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV Network. It is going to be a wonderful show. We have Deeran in the building.
I'm here, y'all.
He was on tonight's episode. What's up, Deeran?
Hey.
Yeah.
Air Force for the DJ.
He's going to be here to tell us his whole journey, what he went through, the good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between.
Yes, honey.
Yes, and hanging out with us also is Raiven.
Hello.
The Air Force for Raiven.
Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the Revenge Body After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV Network. So on tonight's episode, we will talk about how Khloe and how she gives us an update about her life. And Deeran, like we said, he's going to leave it all on the floor. Of course, we have our news and gossip, which is so juicy because Deeran has a book. Tune in for that. And then we have our predictions and so much more. Gosh, let's get our overall thoughts on tonight's episode. I mean, season 3 already, episode 1, Love Me for Me. Deeran, just a quick little overall thought. I mean, this was a journey, an exciting one, but
I literally just rushed from the premiere party here, and to see myself, the journey, I will say, wow.
Yeah.
All I can say is just wow. And it was me, and all I can say is wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I have coworkers, I'm not going to call you out, but they take issue with this show fundamentally, that it is the kind of someone else being the impetus for your change. And that is, it seems purely physical. But I like that your journey and what this shows is that's not what it is. Weight comes from an emotional thing.
Right.
So in order to lose it, you got to kind of go there, and you did, and you're brave, and thank you for reliving it again right here.
Thank you.
Exactly. I mean, this show, it was connecting with me in ways. I mean, I really truly enjoyed it. Everything from just trying to figure yourself out with your sexuality, and then with your father, and then, I'm lucky enough, I did have a good connection with my dad, but this was showing me like, wow, it could have been different. You know? Yeah. So kudos to you. I'm proud.
Thank you.
Definitely proud. But let's get into it here. So Khloe gives us a little update on her life. If you guys didn't know, Khloe had a baby, beautiful baby girl named True. And she told her mother, Chris, how she gained 40 pounds when she was pregnant. And then she weighed about 203 pounds when she actually gave birth, which... to some it's big, to some it's not, but it's like, wow, Khloe, like she's still a petite woman. And I was shocked to hear that she gained that much. Was anybody else pretty shocked about that?
40 pounds is 40 pounds. No matter what size, gender, whatever. And to see yourself that much bigger than what you normally were. If you guys saw in the episode how skinny I was when I was in the military, it's very challenging to see yourself that way if you grew up smaller. I know some people grew up bigger, and so it's a little bit different, but I can only speak from the stance of if you grew up smaller or got to a certain point to gain it, it's hard. I commend Khloe for going through the hard work, for being in the public's eye, for going through all the scrutiny that she had went through from being the ugly sister or whatever, for her to lose that weight. Then she had a baby, gained the weight back or some of the weight back, to then lose it again. That was inspiration to show not only does she walk it, but not only does she talk it, but she walks it as well. She started the show and she had to go through it too. So she's no human. Her humanness is no different than mine. You know, like I said, so I really enjoyed that.
I was trying not to... That part was a little hard for me to empathize. Okay. I had children, a lot of years ago. Okay. My children are now 21 and 22, I think, or maybe 20. I'm sorry, kids. Okay, but I was their age that they are now. So there was no social media. There wasn't, none of that existed, and all I cared about was my kids. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't think about weight or any of that. So I was I wanted to empathize with Khloe because you, my friend, and my mind, girl.
Okay,
let's hang out.
same here.
Out. But I just feel like you carried a whole life, and it's just so much pressure, and you just birthed a whole human.
Right.
I hate that is even a thing to.
Well, some of it too you have to think about is the expectation too, because when I really said her humanness was no different than mine, I really meant that. And social media comments hurt, blogs hurt, those things hurt, and so you can be as tough as steel. You can have a whole support. You can have millions of dollars, but if somebody keep telling you the fat person or you're this person, you're that person, you're going to take that on, and that will become a front thing. And especially if you work so hard to lose the weight and you gain it back, that is a very self-conscious thing that she could possibly have. So I understood where she was coming from, but I also understood your point to where your main focus should be your child. But you also have to think that's how she eats as well, is to make sure that her body is in the right condition and all that stuff. So I understand it, but I also understood where she was coming from.
Right.
Yeah, I understood too.
Yeah.
It was just hard to empathize.
Got you.
Because here she is with the trainers, and do we think it's tougher when somebody has pretty much a village behind them, or and it's different for somebody who's just regular old me going to 24-hour fitness, trying to do what I can do, you know what I mean, and still eat my donuts, which hopefully it just balances out. But Khloe here has a village. Is it different, like losing the weight that way? It's quicker,
I mean, you can have all that access. There are a lot of wealthy people who are not okay.
True.
So it's still where you are emotionally, spiritually, and all of those things.
I think yes and no. The one thing that I want people to know is that it does take a village. It does not have to take the village that we look like when you look at the Kardashians or look at my journey and stuff like that. It does take a village for accountability. Friends, because what you didn't see on the show, as I taped for 12 weeks, there's only so much you can see in an hour. I was at 24-hour fitness too for my second workout. We heard that they had to do 2 workouts today, but you didn't see what it was. I still had to go. I had to go on hikes. Simone's husband came and worked out with me. My friends came and worked out with me. I had therapy. It's so much that you don't see on the show, and it's not because they don't want to see. There's only so much stuff you can show in an hour. Yeah. And so it does take a village. But just because you don't have you're not a celebrity status, not of a celebrity status, that does not mean you don't have a village. Put your village to use, or why they there.
Right.
Okay.
Amen.
Ooh, I know that's a word right there.
Come on. Come on.
Preach.
Come on.
Well, so let's move on here. So we finally get into Khloe actually meeting you, and you telling us your whole story and just how you're not just comfortable. Pretty much it seemed like you weren't comfortable just yet in your skin. You're dealing with everything with your father, and this is the first meetup, and you're just letting it all out. How tough was that for you? I mean, here you are telling your whole story to the world, pretty much.
That what people didn't see is that I didn't know I was going to meet her that day.
Really?
No, and so they were like, "Hey, we want you to come in and do some stuff," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And so that's why I was looking toe up to the flow up, in my opinion, because I didn't think I was about to meet her. That's probably what they want. They want me in my true, authentic self. Because if you know that you about to meet Khloe Kardashian, it's like, let me put this on, let me put a waist trainer on, let me have some of this stuff.
Full face beat.
Exactly. And so when I went in and saw her, I was like stunned to see a Kardashian like that close to me. It was like, oh my God, you exist. You're not just in this little box. And then it was like immediately, bam, we going straight beelining right into the issues. And I was like, whoa, like, okay. And so I had to, in my mind, it was like, this is an opportunity. Let me live up to the thing. Let me live up to the expectation. And they had to stop for a second. Larissa, the producer, you saw me helping me through this. Shout out to Larissa because she's amazing. They took a pause and they was like, listen, because I was hesitant. The reason why we have you, she said, the reason why we picked you is because you have a story and we want to help you through this. And so they kind of made me feel very calm. That's why it was just so much about the show that the perception of it in some places is not true. It's not a superficial thing. They really do care about you. It was so much support that I had, and they was like, okay, now are you calm? And they made sure that my nervous system was in line, and then we kept going. So yeah.
Nice.
Yes, I love that. And I love the saying that you said about your spot and your blemish.
Yes.
I never heard of that before.
It's in the Bible.
Okay, with the word.
Yes, it's in the Bible.
I'm just here for it.
I don't want to jack it up, but it's basically you came in because don't want nobody tweeting that you had it wrong. No.
They're gonna be watching like, that ain't what that
said. That ain't what that said.
That was in chapter 27, verse number 3. That was chapter number 9.
But I'm about to paraphrase out of the book of Deeran, chapter 4. It said you came in the kingdom of heaven without a spot. You can only be accepted in the kingdom of heaven without spot or blemish. And so, to me, how I really took that is because I try to live my life right. I try to do the best I can and not steal and not cheat, not lie, be authentic and stuff like that. And so, when I started to line myself up with the word, this was one of the things that was kind of troublesome for me. And so I took this as my spot and blemish. And so that was the thing that stuck with me.
Question. Did you, when you applied for the show, had you watched 1 and 2? Like, did you expect?
that is probably where maybe I wouldn't have had the worst time.
That's what threw you off. You didn't know what you was getting into.
Yeah, a little bit. Right. And so probably about week number 6, I was like, let me watch and see what I'm doing. Maybe a little bit. And so that was probably some of it too as well. I really did not realize how overly exposed and overly it is. And so I was like, okay, wow.
Oh, Lord. Well, before we go on, I just want to give a little shout out to everybody that's listening and watching us on our YouTube channel and let you know that we are the ESPN of TV Talk. We appreciate you guys watching us, listening to us. And if you are watching us, please subscribe to the AfterBuzz TV channel here. And you can also subscribe to Black Hollywood Live, our sister channel. And give us those thumbs up on iTunes. Give us those thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a comment down below. If you have any questions for Deeran and Nia, leave some questions down there. We got our live chat up. And we just appreciate you guys for watching and listening to us. So let's go on to here, you leaving it all on the floor.
Okay.
You meet up with your trainer, Simone, who is so nice. Shout out to Simone. She was here last season and actually did an interview, so she's such a nice lady. But you meet up with her at her workout over there in Brentwood, and it's tough for you. Have you ever done anything that tough? I mean, your first workout, here you are on the trampolines, getting it in. Like, have you ever done anything so intense like that?
No, never. I mean, yes. Okay. Yes. I almost forgot I was in the Navy for a second.
Oh, true. True.
Yes, I had been. But the difference with this show versus any other show or this show about real life is that I had to integrate it within my already existing life. So that's why it was hard. With boot camp, I had time to just do it over. And it was just that I had to focus on. It was just that about getting in my best physical shape. This was still living in reality, going to work, going to DJ, writing a book, doing all these things. I was in my master's class while incorporating this intensive workout session. So that's why it was really hard, is because it made me integrate into what I was already doing.
Okay. Well, I mean, it looks like you were pulling it off in the beginning there. We did see about your struggle with the diet plan and how they set you up with a trainer or a nutritionist and, you know, everything was going good, but then you kind of went to the left and started cheating on your little diet, which I'm not mad at you, because but I can tell you, I love food myself, so. But you were able to get back in there, but it was a bit of a bumpy ride because you and Simone somehow.
I know.
She's just sweet as pie.
Everybody was like, whoa, because I'm so nice. The thing is, when you're going through such a transformation and it's being pulled under the rug, your lens, your perception of everything is bad. You can go touch me, like, whoa, back up off me. Like, what you doing? Right? Because you're such in a vulnerable space. You're such in a vulnerable situation. So as I look back at it, some of the things I maybe took as offensive probably really wasn't. I was just really in my feelings and stuff like that. And the thing is, I've been able to cope with them from eating. And so I was trying to restrict myself from that. And so now I had all of those feelings and emotions coming up, and I don't like crying in front of people. You got about, 3-4 cameras here, a bunch of people. It was just a lot. And so...
Oh, you cried a lot.
Yeah.
When your body tired, you can't hold the emotions. Any other time, you be like, I'm not going to cry. Today I was like, Lord, leave it on. I can't. My muscles is tired. My mind tired. My emotions tired. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot. So me and Simone, at that time, she was frustrated. And I can totally, on this end of it, I can see why she was frustrated, because she really put her all her resources into it, which you didn't see as me with her husband hiking, to go hike in the morning because she couldn't go with me sometimes. And what you also saw, her mother, who's so sweet, was able to talk to me and stuff like that. So I could see where her frustration was coming from. Like, I'm giving you everything. I'm giving you a lot.
It's making sense.
Yes, but some of that stuff, when you're in that space of vulnerability, and my crutch was taken, and I couldn't tell nobody I was on the show, right? And I don't have a huge, like, solid support system from my parents. You know, I love my parents. You don't see that type of stuff. The lens is skewed, you know, and so skewed is the word I just made up, and I'm going to coin that.
We'll take it. I like it.
Take it straight to the bank. But yeah, I mean, I was happy to see that you guys were able to at least come back together, sit down, talk about it. And here she is. She's like, listen, I'm going to get you this home delivery meal plan. I'm going to just help you out a little bit more. Like, she didn't give up.
No,
so
her and
good.
Kelly. And I want to shout out to Kelly Levesque, who she was awesome as well. She's the nutritionist. It was her and Simone that went out and reached out into their resources to see that I needed a little bit more support. And so they reached into their resources to help me and give me some support in that way. The one thing I will say about this process, for anybody, is trust is a big thing. That was the thing I realized, is that I was skeptical coming in just because of the perception that everybody has of the show or of the Kardashian brand, of those type of things. I didn't really realize I was still holding some of that reservation, especially when everybody's a stranger at that point in time. Now, I mean, we like family, but at the time it was like it was a stranger. And so once I decided to like leave it all on the floor, you know, and really just trust and hopefully this is the best, is when it really started to take off. So that was some of it as well, I gotta admit. It was my lack of trust. And that's just me being raised in the inner city of Detroit. I'm always looking at somebody with a side.
Right.
What you trying? You know?
Exactly. But, excuse me, but I'm just very glad that you guys did that. And then you also realized maybe the 40 pounds was the 50 pounds was a bit too hard to reach.
Yeah.
So what was that discussion like when you guys said, okay, let's go down to 40? Was it just how we saw it on TV when she was just like, you have another goal you want to reach, another weight goal you want to reach, or how did that come about?
No.
To switch from 50 to 40?
So we had a conversation after it was like, okay, after the blow up and all that stuff happened, it was like, okay, realistically, 50 pounds with the way I was moving and just how food was such a crutch and the context of what my weight was in, which is that's the big picture I really want to get everybody to see. It's not even just about weight. When you're trying to change something, it's the context of what it's in. 50 pounds was a lot. And so then we decided I wanted to go for 30, right? I was like, come, Simone. She's like, no, I think 40. I think that's
all right. More pounds will be fine.
Yeah. And so then that's how it had that we sat down and we talked, and that's how we came up with the 40 pounds. And that was still doable. I just had to work even harder. And at that point,
right, because you had already had time where you did not take advantage.
That's right.
So that was actually really huge for the amount of time that you had left.
Yes. So I did that. I think 17. I was at 17 pounds at the halfway mark, and so the rest of it was the second 6 weeks. So it is possible. I just really had to, at that point in time, because I had allowed time to be wasted, which this is a message for somebody, right? No matter how much time has been wasted, you can still finish. You can still finish strong. You still finish where you want to. You just got to put in more time. You just got to put in more work. You got to put in more effort on the second end of it. And so that's what I decided to do.
I love that.
Do you preach still? Do you do preaching at all?
No, I
feel like, like a youth pastor or a young adult type of thing.
I'm here for it. I got a message.
Listen, you better put your hands up and receive it because you're already being used.
Yes.
All right.
Wait, where are you with religion? Because that was a huge part of your journey.
So what so I can understand your question, ask me one more time.
As far as that was kind of what held you back, religion, and what your perception of it is. Where are you with that now? As far as accepting yourself, where do you put religion? That
God knows our hearts and our minds, and that at the end of the day, I know I love God, and I know how my intentions are, and my intentions are pure. And so that is where I'm at with it. Nobody knows. For me to sit here and say, you gonna make it into heaven if you do this, or you gonna make it into hell if you do that, is not appropriate, and that is not correct, because we don't know. We all on the shoestring and a prayer, tell you the truth. Before put the kid up at the gate, everybody gonna be sweating. I don't care how religious you are, okay? And so that's kind of after I really allowed that to sink in and really believed it. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna live my best life, my most righteous life I can, do the best I can do with the tools that I have, and the Lord knows my heart.
Yeah, because Is Love a Sin was huge.
Yes.
That was huge.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's what it is, whether it's God, universe,
Right.
all the terms. I believe it goes to the same source.
Right.
And that source is love.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean,
you know.
what was that like? I mean, we meeting with the pastor, was it Dr. Sean, and then meeting with the elder, Jimmy? What was that whole process like? Because they didn't tell you were going to the church.
They didn't tell me nothing. Everything was a surprise.
Just a text and an address, and whoop, I'm at a church.
Yes, they text me an address. And this is the funny part. I thought that they were going to send me on a blind date to put me in the fire, right? So I was like, okay, so I'm getting ready to, like, okay, I'm about to go on this date. Like, I don't even know where I concocted this like thing in my mind. And then once I get to the address, I see a church. I'm like, this a church date? Like, what are we doing?
This is a church date.
Yeah, like,
Praying together, Lord. Okay.
all right. And so when I got there and I saw him and he introduced me, I was like, oh, this is one of them conversations that I've been needing to have. Like, okay. And it was really great to get, because I'm very respectful and I hold to such a high esteem elders and evangelists and pastors, because at the end of the day, what they say matter, and they're going to be held accountable if they're leading people astray, and they're going to be held accountable if they're preaching the wrong word. They're going to be held accountable. So with that, I put my trust in them. If you have this title, I put my trust I'm going to respect what you say. And so it was nice to hear somebody of that esteem, especially from the spiritual or religious community, to come and give me a different perspective. So that was really nice, and that is probably what helped a whole lot. That is what helped a whole lot.
Nice.
That's very nice.
I'm going to steal Simone's, I'm going to call it the Jesus hand.
Okay.
Because when you were in your moment, Simone was just like, I was like, okay, Simone.
Just laying hands on you.
Look, if my man is watching, when you try me, I have nothing.
Just giving us Simone hands.
That's all I got.
The Simone hands. That's what we're going to start calling it. I'm just going to give you Simone hands.
Because me and Raiven were cracking up. Because we thought she was going to do it when y'all had the blow up. We were just like, she's going to do the hand. She's going to do the hand. But she knew right then and there. She said, oh no, we need more than a hand for this.
I need to take 5. I need to take 5. Get these hands. It ain't about to be the Simone hands.
I said, oh, they're going to shut it down. Then, can I talk to you in the room when you said it to the producer without Simone?
Yes.
Okay. Simone ready to go.
Real issues happening.
Okay, get out of business in her shop. I said, oh Lord.
That's what I mean on the back end of it. That's like going to somebody's house and not speaking. I was like, who does that? I was like, can I speak to you? Not her. Like, but it's just when you in the middle of all your feelings is at the front and center. That's all you see is just your feelings.
I didn't even think about that without you.
Exactly. I know this is your studio, but you're going to have to stay in the front.
You pay the rent here, but I don't need you to come on in here.
We're going to use your office.
I'm sorry, Simone. I love you.
Poor Simone. You so much. And congratulations, Simone. I think she just had a baby.
Yeah.
I saw on her Instagram how she was pregnant for the longest time. Well, not the longest time. We know pregnant.
For the longest time, this baby.
Y'all know sometimes pregnancy be feeling like 20 years. I said, don't announce it so early. Tell us when you're 7 months.
Oh, God.
It's too much for me.
She probably never showed.
She was tiny. But, you know.
She has a baby workout, too, for pregnant mothers who go through the transit. Yeah, Simone be on it. Like, she has a whole pregnant workout for pregnant moms and to help you out and stuff like that. I think it's called Baby by Simone or something like that.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, shout out to you, girl. So let's get into your big reveal. Okay. You are at the party. Everybody's excited. You have your friends there. Your dad showed up. Did your dad know he was going to go to, like, a reveal, or did you just tell him, like, meet me at this party?
The production asked me how should they get my parents here, because the idea is you don't want the person who is about to know, because then they won't come, or they'll have already a pre-planned thing and they want it. It's reality, and it's about reality, and it's reality television, which in my case it is reality. It was real.
Yeah.
And so they called him. I called him and told him I was doing a show. And I needed him to come out for something. And production took it over from there. So I don't know what that conversation was like, but he did know I was doing a show, because my daddy would not have liked that whatsoever. To have nobody would. Right? To have just cameras shoved in your face like that, and you don't know. So I did tell him that part.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so because I judged Daddy a little bit.
Yeah, we were a little tough on Daddy.
He did not leave this baby and act like he's going to the bathroom. Like, let me go get some milk. I was so upset. I wanted mama to say, if you don't do that to my baby. But hearing this and knowing that's tough. Yeah. That's tough to be confronted in that moment and not know what you're stepping into. So, sorry, Dad.
I signed up for the process.
Right.
So I knew, so anytime something like jarring came at me, it was always like, I signed up for this. You know what I mean? I signed up for this. And so I'm not giving him a pass whatsoever because I really believe a parent, all the parents out there, you need to meet your kid where they are at, not them meet you where you are at. That's the one of the biggest things. But I did understand the uncomfortability aspect of it because my mom was uncomfortable. A lot of people in the room was uncomfortable. There was certain things that you just didn't see because, for the camera. If nobody just likes cameras and you're like, that's very exposed, you know. And so I understood that part from the need to take a beat. I was not expecting it to never be picked back up. But so him taking a beat didn't surprise me. But us not circling back to it is what surprised me.
Yeah. So how long did he, were you sitting there on the couch? When he said, I'm going to the bathroom, how long did you actually wait?
It felt like a long, I don't know because I didn't have a watch on that day.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. It seemed like a long time.
It seemed like a long time.
It did seem like a long time.
You handled yourself so well. By the way,
thank you.
Because that's heartbreaking. That could really have broken you, and it shows what your journey was like. That you were able to be like, oh no, you're not about to get away with this, sir.
Yeah,
I'm still going to speak my truth. That was great. That was great.
The show really. Mind, body, soul is what they've been preaching, and Khloe's been preaching. It really was about mind, body, soul. For me, it really. I can't speak anything else.
You didn't think it was about just mimosas and hanging out.
Khloe, you still owe me the mimosas. I just want you to know now, girl, because that's what I thought.
I'm with a Kardashian. I'm drinking mimosas.
Who wouldn't think that, right?
I would think that.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Sure
it's like, come hang out with Khloe and Kim and them. It's like, okay, let me put my beat to Tyrone. Let's eat me a salad.
Let me get my shades for the paparazzi. You're not owned down. No pictures, please.
Right. I was like, no, not today, brother. I was like, oh, okay.
But so the one thing I did like about the reveal is that your mom she was just like, you like men and women, baby. I knew.
Right.
You know, Mama always
knows, child.
Mamas always know.
Yeah, my mommy. I love my mommy. She was very supportive. To be honest, the reactions from my parents I thought were going to be reversed just because I know my parents. And so I was so even more proud of my mom because she stepped up because I'm from the Midwest, from Detroit. Anybody in the Midwest who's from the Midwest know that our business is our business. Nobody want to be airing out dirty laundry. Nobody want to be. And so for her to really step up to the plate and really not walk out or to really just speak her truth and stuff like that, I was very, very, very happy for her. So shout out to my mommy, Shakima.
It's tough. It's tough. I remember my children were probably 8, 9 when I asked, do you like boys or
You had the
girls?
conversation.
And here's the thing. You will love your child either way. But as parents, the thing we do that is not good, but it kind of is what it is, we have our expectations. It's our life, our expecting this marriage and expecting this child and expecting what we expect. So I wanted to know so that I could let go of my expectations that were my expectations. So I know it's not cool, but it's kind of what it is. It's why people who are athletics put their children in, that's their stuff that they're giving to their child and living through them in some kind of not good way. I don't want to call it morbid because it's almost natural as a parent, but it's not cool. So it's not even always just the not accepting of the person. It's letting go of everything you dreamt and thought.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow.
Come on, preacher.
I know.
Let me know now.
Yeah.
So I can plan a different way. Are we adopting? What are we doing?
And I'm the oldest, right? So being the oldest comes with its own level of expectation, its own level of challenges and stuff like that. So I understand to a point. But going back to my last comment, I really believe a parent should meet the child where they are at and not expect them to meet you where you are at. I feel like that would help so many different situations. And that will help a lot with why people do certain things, right? I didn't really realize that until I was talking why I even turned to religion. I didn't get saved, baptized, filled with the Holy Ghost, all that until I was 18, right? So I didn't get raised in a church like most people think, and I never stopped to analyze to see why I went to the church, why, and I'm appreciative. I love the church to this day. But I didn't even understand that. And so I think if you can get down to your relationship with your parents, or parents understanding that, that your relationship with your child will affect how they move, how they do, how they breathe, how they stuff. It creates a whole different dynamic, I think, but it would for parents and children.
Agreed. Parents are people too, though. Cut us some slack. We have our own issues that we probably haven't dealt with yet. You know, I'm just saying. Mom. Right.
That's funny.
Was there anything you guys want to touch on throughout this episode? Any final things? Anything that may have stood out? Raiven, Deeran.
Look, I'm looking through all of my notes.
And,
for me, I guess what I really want to, I hope people take away from this whole story and journey is that it's about mind, body, soul. Find the context of what the struggle is in. It's fitness. It goes across the board. It does nothing for you to be skinny, but your soul to be corrupt. It does nothing for you to be wealthy, but you are psychologically not fit. So I do believe fitness goes across the board. Mental fitness, physical fitness, spiritual fitness, financial fitness, being in all those type of ways. And so that's why I wrote a book. I ended up writing a book called Colorful Confessions.
Can I see?
Yes, honey. Yes. Yes. So Colorful Confessions, which is on pre-sale today. From headache and heartbreak to healing and happiness. And it goes more into it's not a tell-all on the book, on the show. So I'm thinking you about to get some juicy but it goes more into my story. More into the relationship between me and my dad, how it got to this place, because it used to be like that, and so you get to see that in the book, and how I was let down, and each chapter I start off explaining what headache, heartbreak, healing, and happiness is, or how it manifested in my life, I should say, and then I have poems. So the poem that you guys, the spoken word that you guys saw on the show is in the book, as well as other spoken words, because that's the way creatively I'm able to express myself and really be able to say what I want to say and manifest the words. It was through spoken word, and so that's in the book, as well as like a little couple of scriptures and actionable steps on how I move from each step to finally get to the place of happiness. And so this is for anybody who feels alone, stuck, and not just about weight, because I really want to stress fitness goes across the board: mental, physical, spiritually, all that. So if you're stuck in the fitness realm in any one of those areas or any other area, this book will be really great for you.
Okay, I'm with that, and I really appreciate men, but our men specifically, searching for that healing.
Yeah, that's why the brother on the cover. That's why you see that brother.
Brother on the cover.
Brother on the cover. Yes. Because this is definitely, especially coming from the African American. This is not just for African Americans, but especially in the African American community. We're supposed to be. We always are taught to be so tough and so this and so that, and we lose some of the stuff that makes us human. Right. And it becomes a weakness, how we view it sometimes, or things that makes us human. And so I think there's a very big disconnect between the generation before me and my generation. That what the standard of a man looks like. I think in past generations, men have only had so many options to choose from, and as time is progressing, we're realizing that manhood is on a spectrum, just like womanhood is on a spectrum. Like there's no difference, you know. And so I want to be part of that movement and really want to help. And I'm going through it myself, trying to figure out the spectrum just like the next person, because it hasn't been done for men and in the black community from past generations. And so I'm happy to be able to join this fight and move forward.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you get to post yourself now? Could you not post? Okay.
Yes. So I can post, child. Y'all probably tired of me posting, child. Yes. Simone, she took a picture with. I really enjoyed her. Yeah. So she's super amazing. Nice, and just anybody can really read this book and get something from it, I believe.
Nice. Yes. Do you have a favorite moment
from the
during
book
this
or
process?
the show? The show. My most favorite moment was probably meeting Tan Fran. Let me tell you why. Because as I was going through the show, I was also writing the book at the same time. So I was going through emotional. It was like I couldn't even think. I was confronted on all accounts. And Tan, a conversation that you guys saw was short. We had a long conversation.
Ooh.
And so we're just going to get me to the top three. When we get to the top three.
Yes, I mean, let's
Okay.
Yes.
So the top three. So for top three, it's top three advice tips that Tan gave me about discussing sexuality, which is also on my website, DeeranAnderson.com, on the blog. And it's overall, I think I put 6, but here's the top 3. The first one is set the right mood. And so when you're talking to someone and you're going to give them some jarring information, make sure the surroundings and everything is right. The music is set, maybe it's chill music so it's not dead awkward or dead silence. The environment that you choose is important. So maybe if you guys have if it's a good memory that's placed or their favorite restaurant, try to do something that makes them more already relaxed. So that's the first one, or the third one is set the right mood. Number 2 is give your family time. They did show this part on the show. Once you tell them something, that's why I said at the end about my dad when he walked away, he will come around. I do believe my dad will come around. He just needs to take his own time with it. Right. You can't expect their initial reaction was like, all right, let's go to Pride, or oh my God, let's go, let's whip it out, let's do this, let's show it off. Like, you have to give them time. It took me 12 weeks, and I was in it immersed, and I couldn't expect them in 3 minutes to be able, so that's something that to give them time. That was number 2, and number 1 is don't allow your family to disrespect you. So that was the other thing that I thought was really great that he had said. It's fine for them to have their opinions. It's fine for them to feel some type of way, to not agree or disagree. And in my blog, I think I even talked about it's probably things that they do that I disagree with, or their parents disagree with. But don't allow them to disrespect you. That was one of the biggest things. Yeah. So those are the top 3. If you go on DeeranAnderson.com, it's 6 altogether. But that was definitely the top 3 that I think were really prevalent for this.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then let's get into a little bit of news and gossip, which is just this.
Oh, okay. Give it up for the bomb.
Our news and gossip / our interview here. So just more about the book. I mean, so how long did it take you to write this book? Because you were saying you were doing this process, which was 12 weeks. Did it take you that long to write the book too? Or was the book longer than 12 weeks?
So I got done in 12 weeks, and I still had a couple of months in between the end of my process and today. And so I just finished the book. It's hot off the press. Shout out to my mentor, and she's awesome, Elaine Swan, etiquette expert Elaine Swan with WS Publishing. So I was going through both those at the same time, and usually a book would take a year or more.
Right.
Yeah, I condensed it down to maybe like 4 to 5 months.
Oh, wow.
So I was really, go work out in the morning, write the book, go work out again. Like, it was very much so in this process. I was very much so immersed in the process. And so it took me about 4 or 5 months. And the original idea for the book kind of morphed into doing more. And so that's kind of why it took a little longer as well.
Okay. Well, I'm here for the book. Yes. I mean, you gonna leave some copies around the studio? We're gonna get a signed copy.
Yes. Okay,
yes. I definitely want a signed copy.
The book is on pre-sale. The first 200 people who order it, DeeranAnderson.com, will get a signed copy. It's available in ebook form and in paperback. So here's the ebook and here's the paperback. And the first 200 people will get a signed copy. I'm working on doing other things. We're gonna do a book tour. It's gonna be super amazing and fabulous. But it's really about, I want to stress mental, because this goes into the emotional and mental part of my journey and more into the whole thing, and how that really played a big part in the physical. And so if you're having a problem, there's a quote by Cindy Trim out of her book, Commanding Your Mornings, that says your inner world is a direct reflection of your outer world. And when I read that, it was like, ding, 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 like, and so whatever's going on the outside, it's probably what's happening on the inside. And I always tell people that if your house is dirty, it's probably the inside of your mind is dirty, because a clean mind don't live in a filthy place.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that I really hope people understand. And if they watch the show, they get the book. If they get the book, they watch the show, because they go in tandem with my story, and you get to see the evolution.
Yes.
That's nice.
And then, go ahead, Raiven.
I wanted to know, did you know you were having your own show? Because it's usually 2, right?
No, yeah, okay. I did not know that. What was so surprising, what I thought about, though, I was like, I didn't filmed a lot. They
got me on the clock for a while.
I got a book to write.
I'm trying to tell you. You want me to come in when? Like, okay, so originally the structure is you film in the beginning, they come back and film. You're working out, but the film crew is not there all the time. They film in the beginning, they come in the middle, they come at the end. That's usually the cookie cutter setup. I probably saw them probably by almost every week. So I'm over here like, what is going to happen? Like, what's happening? Like, what are you guys going to do? And so I was really I was nervous for this to happen, for the episode to come out, because I didn't know how they were going to capture it with two people in one episode. How, if they were going to do it right, what type of light were they going to show me? And I had so much anxiety all the way up until the actual showing. I just came from the reveal or the screening of it, and I was crying when everybody else was crying. I'm like, this is my story. Why am I crying? It's so bad for him. He just, oh my God, poor baby. And it was me, you know. And so, going through all that process and that filming, and here's the thing that I really want people to know about reality television. It is something else because it's truly you. It's not like acting. It's not stuff like that. It's truly who you are, and you have to carve it out of your schedule. You have to do that. It's really a task, and it's not what people think it is, and it's not what I thought it was. I should say.
He thought mimosas.
Laying on the beach, smoking a cigar,
So wait, speaking of the mimosas, are you still like in contact with Khloe? Because I know we had one guy, Will, who was a contestant like ways back, and he's still in contact with her. Do y'all keep in contact, or was she kind of like, hey, you worked out with me, okay, bye? No.
So yes, so Khloe has reached out. She's really awesome. She's super nice. It's not like I have her phone number. Like, hey, let me just call up Khloe. Right. Just say, hey, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like that.
Hey, girl, tell me what's going on.
Yes, but she does. She tweeted me this morning or earlier in the show and stuff like that. So she's super nice and super amazing. Aww. Yeah, so they're really nice. I still talk to everybody like Simone and everybody's still there. So it's not like once the camera's done, you're done. Right. It's not like, that's the thing I think about the show, the rep, that I really want people to understand is not what you perceive. Let go of the Kardashian perception, and it's really real. She met me in a spot. The thing that they didn't show on television was she started talking to me about scriptures. Khloe's a very spiritual person.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I was like, okay, she done brought the church.
Yes, Khloe's a very spiritual person.
To church in the beginning.
Absolutely. She can really relate to this. She's been going through a lot of stuff in the headlines and stuff like that, so she knows about perseverance. She knows about struggle, and so she really was able to meet me where I was at, and I was super grateful and happy about that.
Well, that's good. I mean, well, speaking of the headlines, I mean, she is going through a lot. Do you have anything to say about her whole situation with Tristan and then this whole thing with Kylie's best friend Jordan?
Yeah.
I mean, what is your 2 cents on that? Because it can be tough on anybody.
I say everybody has to live their truth. Everybody in any situation that happens there, you can only deal with it how you deal with it. The thing is, I think how she dealt with it, a lot of people would have dealt with. But it's easier to be on the sideline and point, you should have did, you should have said, you should, right? It's easy to watch football on the couch and say, he should have saw that ball, right? When your thighs is burning and that skin is coming towards you, tell me then, okay? Right. You know, so to answer your question, I say, if I was in that situation, I don't know how I would have handled it. And so I cannot tell or say that Khloe handled it wrong or Jordan or Tristan, any of them handled it wrong, because you don't know until you're in that situation. There's a bunch of situations I never thought I'd be here, and I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. And so that's what I think about the situation, is that I couldn't even say what I would do because I've never been in a situation like that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you, Deeran. I mean, this was great. I just appreciate you coming on here, your energy, being on the show, and just handling everything that you've been through. Yes. I mean, such an inspiration.
Thank you.
So before we get out of here, let's do this thing where we call it predictions.
Yes. Predictions.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Predictions. It's where we kind of foresee what we're, I guess, gonna see for the rest of the season.
Okay.
I can kick it off here. I just see, what do I see in my crystal ball? Well, not my crystal ball, because we with the Lord.
Come on, tell me, Lord. Touch me. Right now, Lord.
All that, you know. But I just see everybody really telling the truth the way that you did, and just opening up. I'm hoping to see more of that with the contestants. I did see a guy on there who was a little bit skinnier who wants to gain weight, which is something I've never seen. So I'm excited to see his story. I hope that he gains his 20 pounds or 30 pounds of muscle, you know.
Come on, Dad.
And hopefully see more of Khloe. I know in the past 2 seasons we haven't seen her as much. I know she kicked it off this season when she did her own little interview, so I'm hoping she will be on the show and give a little bit more input on everybody's story.
Okay.
Raiven?
I'm kind of with you on that. Shout out to Chris for joining the show this for the premiere. I was like, okay, Mother Dawn, okay.
Yes.
But because I don't want to sound like a stalker, but Khloe really is like my friend.
I feel you.
And so I feel
real.
like
She's a real like downtown.
and you can
chick.
feel
You can
that.
definitely
That's
feel
what
that.
I'm saying.
Mhm.
Authenticity, no matter what it is. I think that's why even people like the Cardi B's and
Absolutely.
all that, it's authenticity of who you are and being comfortable with that. So Khloe, I just want you to tell us a little more about yourself and her. She kind of glazes over the fact that she also has a revenge story.
Mm-hmm.
But what was that really like? How hard is that to, have to know things like, I was known as the fat, ugly sister, or,
Yeah.
Right.
oh my God.
Yeah.
So what that really felt like and what that really meant for her life, and not to just glaze over it.
Right.
That's a good.
So I would like
okay.
to see that. I don't know if it's a prediction, but that's what I want to see.
I'm here for it.
Since I am, just in case people don't know, I'm a panelist, so I'll be back next week and all the rest of the weeks.
Woo!
Yes, I'll be here. My prediction going forward is, I think that this season is you're really going to see more than just a physical transformation, as you saw with my episode. You're really going to start seeing more emotional, more spiritual, more bringing it more inward, more stuff like that. I think if I was to think, because I'm thinking about Eddie and all those type of things. They're kind of getting away from the traditional. I want to lose 40 pounds, or I want to lose 50 pounds.
Right.
It's like now it's like I want to gain weight, or now I want to be able to be comfortable with me. Now I want, and it's really redefining. To me, I think this show is really helping to redefine the fitness spectrum. Even when you think about Oprah Winfrey and the royalty over in England, where they're doing documentaries on mental fitness and all that stuff. So I think everybody in the media and everybody is really trying to help reshape what fitness is, and I think Revenge Body's starting to join that journey.
Yes.
I'm with it.
I'm with it too.
Yeah.
Well, let us know your predictions down below on our YouTube page. Of course, like I said, if you're listening to us on iTunes, give us those 5 stars.
Yes.
I am one of your hosts here, Howard III. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Howard III. I also do another show on our sister channel, Black Hollywood Live, on Sundays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, called Back to Reality. So make sure you hang out with me over there. And like Deeran said, he's going to be taking over. So Deeran, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Deeran Anderson. And I'm super active, and I will email you or DM you back and message you back, and we can connect, honey. So Deeran Anderson, Facebook, Instagram.
Nice. And look, we got it going on with all the first name, last name, Raiven French on all social media. Look me up, guys.
Yes.
Alrighty, guys, and we will see you next Sunday.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.